let me push this button, and then you'll be able to see my lips move and perhaps some sound come out. So, a bit of a false start again this morning. I don't know why. I think it's just because I got a new piece of equipment, and it's not terribly complicated, and it cost me £2. But to try and get it to work properly, it takes a bit more than 5 minutes, and I guess I should pay more attention. Anyway, I'm Keith Hayes. This is Mirador Television, broadcasting out of Lewes in East Sussex. East Sussex being a county in the Kingdom of the United Kingdom, or Kingdom of Great Britain, or whatever you'd like to call us. We seem to have 27,000 different titles. And talking about perhaps some of the injustices that occur both locally and nationally. And I say that because quite often what is a national injustice impacts quite heavily locally. And some of the blogs that have been written recently about Lewes is it's a dying town. What's happened to it? And it's difficult to know just exactly what has happened to it, because it was a flourishing market town. When I came here 28 years ago, certainly it was bustling and busy, and the throb and excitement of the town got to you. You were really pleased to be here, and I trotted more Canadian relatives through Lewes and through the surrounding area than you could shake a stick at. So what is going wrong with Lewes? I don't know. Perhaps some people would say, well, there's nothing wrong with Lewes. We know exactly what we want. It may be true. But there seems to be a lack of a pulse. And I wonder what's happened to that. Can it be revived? Let's hope so. I had a meeting yesterday with a lovely man, a historian, and he gave me quite a background into not only here in Lewes, but the surrounding areas. A man called Kevin Gordon, lovely man, very talkative, very knowledgeable, very excited, very enthusiastic, ex-copper, worked for the police service on the railways for a number of years, had quite a few stories about that, particularly digging up Gundrada, and all in all, is a delightful hour spent, and a very informative hour spent. But he also said that historically Lewes has been through ups and downs, that it sometimes forgets that it's the hub of the region, because although it's the county town, it's not the biggest town. Seaford is by far the biggest populated town of East Sussex. No, that's not true of this particular area. I think Hastings probably, or Eastbourne, is the largest. But out of our little conurbation, if you like, of Seaview, Peacehaven, Seaford, as they say, and New Haven, and perhaps if we even attempted to bring Uckfield in, Lewes would be rate number 3. But it is the county town, and historically it's the county town. And it had a mint at one time. In medieval times, it had 2 mints, in fact, in Saxon times. And we tugged with Chichester to being the most important town of the region. Well, all that's gone by, of course. Chichester is delightful. It's the religious centre, if you like, of East Sussex. Lewes is still the administrative centre, but there is just something that has died about it for the moment. It still does all sorts of exciting things. It's got lots of exciting people, but there's something just not gelling. And don't ask me, sometimes you just get a feel. But it's not just a feel that I've got, it's a feel that all sorts of other people have got, because they can see shops opening up and restaurants opening up, and then restaurants closing down and shops closing down, and not much happening. And of course at one time it was very fashionable to just blame it on the parking. Well, that doesn't seem to cut much mustard anymore. It's not that difficult to park in Lewes. and they keep on changing the rules to try and make it easier. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it makes it different. But I'm going to have it is hot chocolate, by the way, not coffee. The train station is still the hub. So, if anybody's got any ideas or thinks that those people who are rumbling on Facebook and on the social media that Lewes has got problems, please let me know. I think one of the problems is that we haven't got a vibrant council anymore. They use the cabinet system. It's something that I keep thumping on. I was told about an interview with a politician recently who didn't seem to be too concerned about the cabinet system, and why should they be? Because it gives a few people a lot of power. And if you've got an ineffective executive, which is now universally declared, I think, by politicians, by business, and by citizen alike, as being a complete disaster. The point is that the merger with Eastbourne was thought up in cabinet. A lot of the councillors didn't have much say on it, except that if they belonged to a political party, they were told which way to vote. So they did. Oh yes, oh no, yep. It's all a bit strange and a bit odd. But the council most certainly, although they are fulfilling some duties, are not really. They don't seem to have the leadership now. Perhaps because we have split it with Eastbourne. Nothing against Eastbourne. Lovely, lovely town. Like going down there. Some great restaurants. Lovely, peaceful sitting along the front. Total contrast to its sister town, city, Brighton, along the coast, which of course is just throbs with life. Although I do remember about 6 weeks ago reading that some nightclubs are beginning to close down in Brighton because fashions change. People are spending more time at home, and perhaps that's the result of computers and games and the things that you can do that at one time you would have to have gone outside. Perhaps we're going to become a race of people who don't go outside, and that the town centres will continue to die. I hope not. If you go to London, that's certainly not dying. People certainly want to go out and enjoy themselves there and after work. The pubs seem to flourish here, and they're decent pubs. I don't think there is one pub in Lewes that I wouldn't go into and would feel perfectly comfortable and we made to feel welcome. But there is no original thinking that goes into these places. Okay, there are a couple that are so established, I wouldn't want to see them changed, and they wouldn't want to change. They're doing very well, thank you. But others need to start to think of how they're going to attract people in. After all, famously, we had 63 pubs and 17 breweries at one time, and boy, was that a golden era, sort of thing that I would approve of. But the town, the district council, which is yet to be formed, because we had a vote this time last week, well, it was 8 days ago, and the council will now form and meet, and the bartering will take place because it's no overall control. Interesting to see how it comes out. But quite often, the politicians, because of the cabinet system and because they have no real say in what goes on, they don't sort of do things with great enthusiasm. And nor would I think, if I was elected and found that I was on the outside. After all, I'm elected by people to represent them and to make sure that they are represented. And that is not an easy thing at the moment for any councillor. I don't blame them, but what I do say to them is get rid of the present system. You know, there is a committee going, I think, that was taking a look at change. May that committee flourish, and may it report back, and may it say, this is the way we should be run. Because we are not doing an effective job, and you're not. Now, let's not pretend. It's just foolishness to pretend. They're not doing an effective job. They're not backed up with a very effective county council either. The town council has limited powers. It does try very hard to be the core of social life in the town. You still have exhibitions at the town hall. You still have terrific lunches and dinners and so on and so forth. And there's still a colourful mayor. But I think everybody's just got to get together and say, what the heck are we doing? And I was reading a little bit about the naming of Archie, our new boss. Well, no, sorry, he won't be a new boss for a while, because his dad's the boss, Harry, Prince Harry. And the uproar within the royal family, if one is to believe the reports in the various newspapers, that it has caused all sorts of mayhem being called Archie, and that in fact the Harry and Meghan are going to decide to do things very differently. Thank you very much. I think William looks as if he might be a bit more of a traditionalist. Sometimes we forget that the tradition which we've held on to, sometimes for 200 or 300 or 400 years, is all very well to knock it and sneer at it, but millions of people come to take a look at it. Talk about the golden goose killing the goose that lays the golden egg. It seems to me those people who don't want us to be traditional, want us to be modern and forthright, well, they can go hand in hand. We can keep tradition while we're being a vibrant country, and in fact, our economy is booming at the moment. Absolutely booming, despite what the politicians are doing, despite what's happening with the EU, despite all the uproar. The economy is in great shape. We do have a problem with the very rich and the very poor, and that needs addressing. But generally speaking, we are a vibrant country while hanging on to tradition. So I'm not at all happy that people are suggesting that we get rid of tradition. No. It's an important part, even if you can only hang it out in the shop front and say, come and take a look at it. It's an important part, not only of our culture and our makeup. But I wonder whether that's part of Lewis's problems. It doesn't know where it's going anymore. Some people talk about the cleansing of Lewis, that we brought in so many families who are bankers and commuters and so on and so forth, with filthy rich salaries handed out by the City of London to come home to, but are spending their money in the capital and not here. I don't know. There are lots of theories. All I know is I think the reality is that this town has got a problem, and I hope that it'll resolve it. And perhaps what we've got to do is what this blog, if you want to call it, this channel, this TV channel, along with some of its colleagues like Mick Symes from the group Post on Facebook, Lewis Present, and some of the blogs, groups, Facebook channels for New Haven and for Seaford and for other parts of the south coast or the southeast coast, and then along with Lewis Eye, a very, very, very good investigative website, that's lewiseye.com, is perhaps we can do something about it by holding the council to account. Certainly I've been to a couple of meetings, and then there's a lovely new magazine, Town and County, which basically is it's a lifestyle magazine, but it is concerned because I've spoken to the people. I write the odd article, so I get to chat to the editor once in a while, and he agrees that there is a throb that's missing, and he hopes that his magazine can help bring back some life to Lewis, and therefore, in that sense, it is also a watchdog. So there are 4 units, and the shrinkage of local media is having a devastating effect right across the world, right across the Western world anyway. And more and more surveys are being done and more hand-wringing. Well, at least in Lewis, we're trying to do something. There are 4 units trying to do something. We're very happy to take on more. And we're not a formal organisation at all. It's just a loose assembly of people who are concerned and trying to do their job. Well, it's Friday. You don't want to hear me rabbiting on about doom and gloom. It's 1 minute past 6, so I've gone past my allotted time. It doesn't really matter. It's just a discipline that we impose because we've worked professionally in the media for so long. So I'm going to say toodle pip. I will be back on Monday, and I look forward to being with you. And in the meantime, I'll start to scout around. I'll start to see what movement we've got in this new council. Let's hope that it is going to be a vital and vibrant council, and to shuck off its inefficiency and its bad reputation that it's gained over the last 4 years. At least the leader has gone. We didn't re-elect him. Very good news. Toodle pip.